It has been a little while. The only thing I've done while I'm waiting on parts is I took this off just to look at it. The chain guide, which goes in like so, kind of held on by those 2 bolts. And there was a huge gouge. Look at the size of that gouge. That is serious. It's all the way through down to metal on that one. So I did order a new one of these to put on. I also ordered a new chain guide for the other side, but you can't get this one out without taking the head off the cylinder. And we're not doing that today. We're going to try not to do that at all. But I do have one. It's been ordered. It's here. If we need it, I can dig into it deeper, but I think I'll be okay with just what we have. So, since the last time, we have our new black guide, our new other one, which you can see it's got 2 little posts that stick out, which get sandwiched between the head and the cylinder, so we're not dealing with that. And a new sprocket. The service manual does say replace the sprocket whenever you replace the chain. It really wasn't that much more, so I got us a new sprocket. We have some oil sitting right here. It's very convenient. We're going to put some on the teeth. And I'm going to put some on the chain. We have our chain fed up here. This is just propped on there because we have not set the timing yet, which is that dot needs to go over there and that line needs to go with that dot. Let me get it in time and then I'll show you. This takes some finagling. Chain is in, she's in time. See that little triangle right there and this little dot right there, those have to be lined up. And then up here we have this little line lined up with this little mark, and then we turn the cam so that that little detent fits in the slot. So that engine is in time. I probably should have put this in before I put the chain on there, but we'll see if I can get it snuck in there now that it's all in place. Worst case scenario, I gotta pop the chain back out. Cool. All right, did it. I'll look up the torque specs on those and get those tightened down. All right, these bolts will get tightened down 86 inch-pounds. Don't mind my Palm Pilot. And that one gets 43 foot-pounds. That's substantial. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get that. I'll have to hold it with something to get that. Might have to save it for last. We're gonna put a new gasket on the timing chain tensioner. So I gotta clean this old one off. Wish this piece of frame wasn't right there. This is directional. There's a big gap, little gap. So we're gonna line that up. Thusly, we have our tensioner. We're just going to take that bolt out. There's a spring there. We can leave that there. And then we're gonna push this tab and slide that up. There we go. And then we can put the whole thing in here. Like so. Tighten these up to 86 inch-pounds. Then we can push this guy down and put our bolt over it. Then we're going to tighten our bolt down to 17 foot-pounds. All of our gasket surfaces are all nice and clean, so now I'm going to try to remember how to put all of our gears back in. Right? What? What? Who am I talking to? First up is the gear for the starter. We have a little spot with a notch on it that goes outside. We have a washer, then these guys, and a needle bearing cage that goes right in there. Put a little bit of oil on it. Slide her in. There we go. And this whole mess goes right in here. We're going to put this on first. Get her all lined up on here. There we go. Then we put the woodruff key in. Then we can slide this over. By George, I think she's in. Now that I have a good sized pulley on here, I'm going to try to get our 43 foot-pounds on that bolt. Got it. Whew. It's hard to hold on to that slimy thing there. New gasket for in here comes on next. I don't know where it is. Found it. I left it in the box, so it wouldn't go anywhere. Now, this is going to be fun to hold on to. Once we get the cover lined up on here, it's going to pull and try to take your fingers off. So be mindful of that. Easy. Easy. So what happens is we pulled the stator, or the rotor into the stator. So now when we remove this, everything comes off. All right, so for this next one, we're gonna take this out and we're gonna line it up and try to push it in quick and surprise it. Yes, we got her that time. We got her. Oh yeah. If the bottom won't go in, just turn this water pump a little bit because it'll only fit in one way. That'll take the gap in there. I couldn't see the gasket here, so I just pulled this guy off. I already had the clamp off. Set that aside. Now we got this guy. We should be able to get that to seat all the way in. Yep, there it is. And this big old bolt goes on there. 36 foot-pounds on this guy. Perfect. I'm gonna get all these guys back in. I just realized I completely forgot about the water pump and did not order a new gasket. Shoot. I'm gonna have to order a new gasket. Wait, I forgot that I remembered. I do have a new gasket for it. Good job, past self. I am very impressed with you. All the screws in. We're going to tighten those down to 86 inch-pounds. Oh, we already must have tightened something to 86. It's set. Short one goes here, and then these three down there. The rest are all the same length. Back up top, we're going to put this cover back on. We are done in there. We tighten these up to the same 86 inch-pounds on those. Now we're going to turn our attention down to the water pump. There's some work to do. Got to clean off all this old gasket and everything. So got her all cleaned up. All cleaned up, looking good. We have the gasket. It's got some, looks like Yamaha bond on there. I'm gonna set that on that side. Probably put some bolts through there so it holds it together while we put it on. I had to put the pipe in the hose too, or get it all lined up. Got those tightened down, 86. I left this one loose. I think that's so we can bleed it. Find out later in a moment. Oh, geez, I just poured antifreeze on my foot. We're gonna get this guy back on there. I'm gonna go up here and dump some coolant in there, but don't let me forget I have to clean that radiator out. Let's get some coolant, do the oil change real quick before we turn this thing over. Coolant's dripping out of our bleeder, so I'm gonna tighten that up real quick. I have to get some more coolant. We can get that after we make sure it runs. I do have a new oil filter for it, and I have all this cap stuff too. So I think oil change is next on the list. Filling her up. New filter's on. Drain plug's in, obviously. Filling it up with oil. Filling the reservoir with coolant. I'll probably leave the cap off of that one. This one, I'm going to prime the engine and then let it sit for a little bit, just to make sure we have oil in all the right places. You know, we had a lot of this stuff out and cleaned off, so we'll prime it first. All right, let's get this thing primed up. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, I think I left the ignition on all night. I did leave the ignition on all night, darn it. I'll hook a tender to it and get some juice back in there while we put the fuel tank back in position. I ended up putting the cap on it. I was tinkering around up here, and this is all dirty. I didn't want mud to fall down in the reservoir, so I put the cap on. It should start. I don't know if I have enough juice in the battery, but we will find out. Probably shouldn't have that near that spinning part. Okay. No dice. I see fuel rushing in, but no start. I hope we have compression. It's possible we've boogered up a valve or a piston or something. Okay, we popped it open, and we have it perfectly in time. It shows up better on the camera without the plate. There's that little line right on the sprocket. It's, oops, lined up perfect. That little guy there. And then we have the line inside of that hole. There it is. And it is perfectly lined up with that. So it's in time. That means whatever's wrong with this engine might be deeper. I was worried that maybe we bent a valve or something. And it's looking like that very well could be the case. So, we're going to have to take it apart, pull the cylinder head off, see what we have going on between the piston and the valves. I don't see another way to do it. That's what we're going to have to do. But I'm not going to do that in this video. We're going to do it on the next video. So be sure you tune in for that. So I thank you so much for watching and coming along with me on these journeys, even these frustrating ones. Really disappointed. I thought we'd throw a new chain on this and be good to go, but that's not the case. But we'll get her one way or another. This will run once more. It's just time and money, right? Time and money. All right, well, thanks again for watching. I hope to see you back here for another video on 3-Day Weekend.